Hello, everybody. Welcome. How are you? How is everybody doing? Hopefully everything sounds okay. Welcome. Boom. Hey, let me get this a little bit brighter. I think I can push the buttons. Brighter. There we go. And maybe change the color balance. I like that a little bit better. We'll do that color today. Hi. Welcome. My name's John Lemcool. I own pluginguru.com. I am blessed to have that as my responsibility in life. Got a little dusty. Gotta make sure you guys don't see through dust. That's not cool. Hey, so I have some crazy things to show you this week. There'll be a little bit of an educational part to this, I hope, for those of you that have the MegaMagic Guitars Volume 3 BLISS. That is what you are hearing. It is such a beautiful library. That's the blissed out version. We could also play it with just the guitar. Oh. So welcome. I got this last week. I wanted to make some bonus content for this library. Hello to everybody. I see all your names. Thank you. It's so happy to. I just love seeing all you guys show up each week for this. It's so cool. It's like this little watering hole event once a week we get to do together. Awesome. So I want to make some bonus content because you guys are buying this like crazy. And whenever that happens, it just warms my heart. And I appreciate what you guys do to support. Let me keep doing this as a full-time business. Thank you. And so I'm going to add over 50 MIDI files of guitar sequences I have done this week. So I'll be showing you that. I'll be educating you a bit on the concepts of making sequences for guitar. You can't play it like a keyboard. If you play it like a keyboard, you're missing out because guitar players can't play like a keyboard player. Physically impossible. There's 6 different strings and they can only hit one at a time. So unless they're using 2 fingers and doing things like this and so forth, you can't play all the notes at once. So if you play it like a keyboard, it's not going to sound like a guitar. You have to learn about rolling notes and stuff. So I'll show you about that. Also, Bob Dedis. We all know and love Bob Dedis. He is such a cool dude. He has, for like 10 years, done demo songs for the libraries I've released. And then last 2 years, we've been working together. He's been making libraries for Unify. And many of you have his Ambient Dreams library. I'll show you a second of that. This is such an incredibly cool, unique library of just these are the textures. Let's get something a little bit more interesting. These scenes where you play a note and it just totally transforms you, right? He's working on a new library that's coming this month. And it's not ambient. Thing with Bob is that he is a well-rounded musician. So he can do libraries like this, which people are just flipping out over for their textured program for genres. He did Renegade, which is a cinematic library for doing here. Let's do like maybe one of the BPM things to show Rock Band. We did this in Livestream, I guess, a long time ago. The mod wheel. So you can do stuff like that, or Rock It in the Name of. So there's this stuff as well. Let's see, how do I get? That's got the latch going. As well as things like cinematic sound effects and sound builders and... and then all of these really cool explosions and percussion. And if you call it the keyboard map, it actually shows you the different groups are, the sub hits. Massive hits. So it's a full cinematic library for trailer music. It's got the scoops. It's got all the... Check that out if you need to do cinematic, you know, you need the hits and stuff. But the new library, totally different direction. And hey, Bob, welcome. We're showing your libraries. We're doing a little tour. So from Renegade, he did first for the cinematic stuff. Then he did Ambient Dreams. And now we are going... let's do this first. This will get you going. Let's see, am I on the right key? B2. And these are all Vital. So it's a Vital 80s mind-blowing library. I'll show you more about it. It's going to come out both for Vital as well as for Vital Plus, as you can see, Unify. The Vital version will be a lesser expensive library, but you don't get all these cool things that you just push a button and play A sharp 2. Actually, Bob, check this out. I transposed some of these so you can like... Listen to just the drums alone are going to make you want to own the Unify version. I mean, the reverb is in the samples. The vibe is there. It is just sick. It's all tweaked out with, like, in fact, on the mix knobs, he's got a VHS mix knob. Here's without it. Hear all the high end? Let's make it go away again. So this, I'll show you more about this in the second half of the live stream. But our first library for Vital is on its way. You can use the free version of Vital. Vital is the same. The only difference between the different versions is you get more patches and you're supporting the developer, which I highly, with hands crossed, hope all of you will do. This should be a $200 synthesizer, and he's giving it away for free. And even the highest price on the bracket's like $75 or something, which is still an absolute bargain. And it's a great synth. It's actually one of our favorites. We have another library for Vital coming later this year as well. So It's well worth having in your toolbox. If you don't know, you can go to vital.audio, and that's where you can get Vital. You can join it, all that kind of stuff. Get Vital here. They have 3 options. The Pro's $80. Or you can subscribe for $5 a month, which if you can do, that would be nice, because that would give him a guaranteed about a bit of money to have coming in. However you want to work it, but at least show some love in a way that's going to mean something to Matt for doing that, because it's a great synth. So we'll get back to that. But anyway, let's get back to what we started with, MegaMagic Guitars V3 BLISS. And just to summarize, this is an acoustic guitar and acoustic bass library. I sampled my 6-string. It's right here. This is my Randy Jackson that I can't play, but it sounds great. It's sampled. Stay, don't fall. You're gonna fall. Don't fall. Stay right there. Right there. It sampled great, so I was able to record it with mics and with a direct input, and right? And then because it's a MegaMagic library, we put all the really cool reverb and delay and it's a separate layer, so you can mute out the guitar if you want. Let's get rid of nothing but just the Bliss element. So, and if you wanted, you could say make a new layer. Let's go ample. And you could load amples, guitars. Well, let's add the L. I can't remember what the L is. It's the Luther nylon, but it still works with these effects. And in fact, you could add the steel string. Right? I mean, it's all just beautiful. You can have a lot of fun with it. Get your tech. So, to make this library go into some other directions, I have done some MIDI files in all sorts of different directions. How is it to blend it with some Ivar? Of course, it sounds great that way. In fact, if we were to take, I will take a moment for Ivar, a wonderful person of the live streams that is a good guy. Let's take this and let's go to the TX816 Unified Library. Let's see, where's the electric piano? Let's load that into the Unify layer. Sounds horrible. Horrible. Oh my gosh, I could never use that. Now, because the DXs, they get a little bit too springy, go here to the velocity curve. Just bring it down a little bit. Better than David Foster, baby, right there. Everything samples and FM is a wonderful combination. Very nice, very nice. Good suggestion, Ivar. Thank you for asking. So yes, it is layerable with all sorts of wonderful things. Now, what I have done to enhance and expand this library is I've made MIDI files in 3 different categories. The most interesting one is called BPM songs. This is where you have a drum groove that you can start the mod wheel and it plays with. Play a note up high and it plays a MIDI file. And these are more like a song. So you have bass, the guitar, drum grooves. Now, again, I'm showing you stuff that's not available yet. This will be released on the 10th of August in 5 days. So I have a little bit more time to fine tune some things. There's some things I haven't made patches for, but I want to show you, let's see. Just little song ideas to play with. Some are really, I love Desperado's really cool. And you'll notice there's more than just guitar going on here. That's because there's all sorts of knobs. I think I've got 4 pages of knobs set up so that you have a guitar, shimmer and bliss, pump house on them. So you can have it off if you want. Here's without the guitar. So it's really cool for textures and stuff. You can have the guitar clear out of it if you want. Isn't that cool? You even have on the 3rd page, this here has a whole bunch of reggaeton grooves, and you can small groove. So these will be coming. These are on their way to you guys. So there's all these BPM songs. There's 8 of them. They're really nice for just playing and just jamming with, you know. Let's see if I can get this to go. Here the guitar has broken notes. And I'm not messing around with the low end, so there's some good basses. I'll pull these out as separate bass patches. Like, hello. So there's BPM songs. There's also, let me see, where are the rest of these here? There's BPM songs. I'm still making this, so I'm still learning where everything is that I'm creating. There's chords and then BPM chords. So here's a BPM chord. There's, I think, 17 of these, 15 of these. And so these are where you play a note. And it plays a guitar sequence that I did. Right? And you hear how it's all broken up nicely? I tried as hard as I could to make it sound like a real guitar. And then you have this knob here, so you can change between the different ones. Minor. Here's major 7 broken. And as you can see, I have bass and I have a groove set up. So you can turn those on if you want. And there's drum sequences, and so you can change both. And you have BLISS. And you have Pump House on them. So there's all sorts of cool ways to use these. I'm having a lot of fun just coming up with some really fun things like this. So I'll make separate patches for all 15 of those. And then there's chords. And I believe I have 17 chords. Here's all the different chords named. And I have it all set up so that as you move the knob, it will change. Strum up versus strumming down. And again, these all have shimmer. So you can get immediately into really cool sound design. It's not just guitar chords. Lots of libraries have that kind of stuff. This is a little bit wider than that. And these 2 pump houses are right here. So I'm gonna like mess this up really quick. Let's put some weird stuff in here. So it's very easy to modify them. You got octaves, so you can use them in all sorts of different ways. But what I want you to pay attention to, and here we'll do a little educating. Here are all the MIDI files that I created in Logic this week. It took literally the entire week to do all of this. And I haven't even mapped out El Diablo. Maybe we'll play with that together at the end if we can. It's like a MIDI chord pack. Yeah, I made a MIDI chord pack that I'm sticking into this library for free because I'm sick. So this is all the chord strums. And notice the notes. They're not played quantized all at once because guitar players don't do that. And if for example, you need this to be not quite so broken, it's a little too slow skip, just go to the tempo and speed it up. I mean, if you make it fast enough, but if you want, you can slow it down. Let's go over here and slow it. You can make it country twangy or whatever you want. The options are there because it's MIDI based, not samples. So right? So there's all sorts of different fun ways to use these chords. I did my best to make cool, unique chords. So all these things to work with. Those are the 3 categories. And then El Diablo, which if there's time, we'll do El Diablo together at the end. That could be really, 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 really fun. I think I'll show you back to the 80s for a bit first. But any questions you guys have? Thumbs up, people. Thumbs up. Thank you, Glenn. Well, I'm just one of those guys that appreciates having customers. And so I appreciate all of you for supporting the chip business that I do. And so anytime something blows up like this, oh, by the way, speaking of blowing up, back this up a little bit. A video just came out from our friends at Signs of Life. Chris, I don't know if you guys know Chris. He does Saphira. I never can say the name of his company, Synfira Records, I believe how you say it. He has a video showing this library in a really cool way for sound design. He runs it into Paul's Stretch, turns it into a soundscape, and then plays the bass over the top of it. It's really, really, really cool. It's really, really fun. So check that out. But anyway, let's keep going on the education. So getting into closer to the details, here's the actual notes. Check this out. So what we can do is let's make a chord and put it into Unify. I'll show you how you do it to make your own. So we're going to go to Logic, and I need to mute my standalone version of Unify, and I need to turn off the Show MIDI keyboard and call up Unify. So I'm in my sequencer. Let's close all the windows here so that I can. Now, so let's say I want to play a major chord. You can do it just, all you need is one chord because MIDI box is going to do the rest. And so let's do a funky chord. So if I want to record that, so just and I played it horribly, so we have to fix it. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Hit P for the piano note score, and we'll have keyboard go away for a second. First thing we have to do is let's do this. I need a little bit bigger window, so I have to work with. Let's select everything and get it so that the first timing event is on 1. I didn't mean to play that note. And then I'm going to go up the keyboard range. I'm just going to like move each one of these so that I make sure that sequentially they don't play at the same time. And this one here, I'm going to hit the quantize 100%. And then this is a little too loose. So I'm going to bring this in a little bit. Actually, these guys are a little. Okay, so let's call it a weird name. So this is say chord. It's a 7 minor. It's a 7 minor 6. I should put a C in there. So let's go. I want to add a C. So let's go 1, 2. And I want this to be a little bit louder, so we'll bring up the velocity for that note. And this is too loud, and this needs to be louder. So once you've played in the data, it's Play-Doh. So you can work with it there. And if I wanted to, I could, let's have it do a resolve. So that means one thing with it being a MIDI file means that it's a lot. There's these things coming out now where you could do chord trigger stuff when you push a button, but this is a MIDI file. So I can do something like this. Let's have this happen sooner. So we'll go like here. This one be wow. And then what I'm gonna have to do, I want the second note to sound, I don't have glides and sliding. Let's have the second note be really soft, so it just kind of, let's see. There. I want that beat faster though. It's not fast enough yet. So let's get in. I just want to be a little brief. There. Just a dude like doing a little ditty thing with his, his playing, right? So this is an abstract. So this is a C minor 7/6. Copy, export, paste the name. Let's put this in. I'll give you guys this as a bonus chord in the library. So now this goes into the, there's chord phrases, one note chords. Here we go. Here's where they're at. So this will be number 17, number 18. 18. I'll put it into the whole stack when I'm all done. So now that I've made the MIDI file and saved it, I can get rid of it in Logic. I can say, thank you to the Unify that's there, and turn back on Show MIDI and go back to the standalone. And I can open up MIDI box and I can go clicking here, and now there should be a number 18. There it is. So there you go. So that's how easy it is to make a MIDI sequence in your sequencer, save it as a MIDI file, load it into MIDI box, and save it as a patch. I'm not going to save it right now, but that's how easy it is. Now, if you want to do a phrase, let's do a phrase together, just to expand on this a little bit farther. So let's go back to Unify, turn down the volume here, go back to Logic, turn back on Unify. Now, if you want to do a phrase, you can have it so that the click remains the whole time. Think of my phrase. Whatever key it's in, you might have to transpose it with the tools in MIDI box. Let's do it in a weird key, so we have to transpose it. Let's do it in A flat. Let's do that kind of vibe. Okay, so I want it to be faster. So let's see, I want to go over here to the quantize tools. You can quantize strength here. One thing that I love, Logic still has the nicest tools for MIDI editing. You can hit P to call up the piano player roll, and then whatever notes you select, say I want the bottom notes to be quantized really strong because I want it to, I want the foundation to be just locked in solid, right? So I can take these bottom notes and I can say quantize to 100%. So that way it's 100% quantized. But then I can take all the other notes. Let's make sure I got them all selected. And I can go from 0%. I can move the slider and hear it. And I can even select certain ranges of the notes and change their quantized strength separate from the rest of everything that's going on. And this is what makes, this is by far the most powerful sequence editing that I know of. I don't know anywhere else you can get into the percentages per events just by looking at it and going, oh, I want these to be a little bit tighter, bring up the strength, they're fixed. The rest of the data here that I played doesn't get changed. That's powerful stuff. So I have this nice little phrase. Let's say, I don't know what number this is, but phrase, this is CHPR. That's what I'm calling these. Live stream. Livestream love. Oh my gosh, we're getting soupy. So let's export this, paste the name, go to MIDI files. This is the chord phrases, and this is number 15. This would be number 16, chord phrase 16. Boom. So now I can turn off Unify inside of Logic, and I can get Show MIDI back up so you have a keyboard to look at. Let's go over here to the chord phrases, BPM, chord. Bambi's the only one I have. But let's go to this list, click the little blue text here, and right there, 9. Now, the way to test the key is to go to add an empty layer. This loads a sine wave, and I can tell that I'm not playing in the key of C. I'm not in the key of C, so open MIDI box, and right here's your offset. Excellent. There. It works. So that's how you make phrases. That's how you can make single note chords. That's what I've spent the whole week doing, is making 50 of those for you guys. And what's fun with this is that you have the chord sequence here. So you can go. Oh, wait, you know what? This doesn't work right now with that because I don't have, I've made these stacks. And a stack is where inside of Logic, you can layer up all of the MIDI files on the same starting point at measure 1.1 and save it all together. A whole bunch of MIDI files that are stacked. And that makes it so that they are all in there, but only one can play at a time. And then we have the ability with a control to change which one that is. So now, I'll get my offset. That's how that works with the chord sequence. It'll be fun. You can switch between all of them. Very, very powerful. So that will be coming out on the 10th. On top of that, the basses that I showed you inside of these songs, some of these, there's actually, if you listen, you hear the acoustic bass in there. I'm just layering it with one of the 808 subs that's in the Unify bonus folder of the library. So that's there, some other things. I'm also gonna make some lo-fi guitars. Let's see, do we have time? Let's make a lo-fi guitar really quick. Because I need to do some. I haven't done them yet. So let's do this. Let's use Shimmerville so we have a little vibe going. Here, I'll give you guys a hint and something I do a lot of. If I need to make a sound, a lot of times I just like to have a hint of what's to go. There's a really cool channel called Lo-Fi Girl on Spotify. If you, I'm about to cancel my subscription to Spotify because they're raising the rates and I'm tired of it. But these songs, a lot of these are super cool ideas, and they start. So I can get vibes for certain sounds. It's got that. I think you hear this, right? Let me make sure. No? Oh, you don't hear this. Okay, good. You can't hear it, but I hear it. So it gave me the inspiration. Check out that channel if you are there. They also are on YouTube. If you search for Lo-Fi Girl on YouTube, there's a playlist that plays forever. That plays wonderful music in the background. It's just wonderful. So let's do this. Let's do this with an effect to see if we can get the effect that we want. We're using Chow. Chow tape model is wonderful because this can, as you heard with Bob's examples, take something. Let's do this. I'm going to go to the shimmer layer because I want it to be darker. And I don't want to ring out quite so long. I want the sample start to be a little bit sooner in this, so it's a little bit different. And I think I'm going to get rid of some of the low end on this. So I want it to be a little bit airier. So let's go over here to EQ, Filter Max. Put a high pass filter. And if you kill the low end, you're killing a lot of the volume. So that's what the gain is here for, so you can offset that. That's nice. Now let's turn it into something old. So there's presets you can call up from here. Let's go for like lo-fi and see what this does. I like to use the thickness. Hear how that kills all the high end. Turn on degrade. And then turn up envelope. So now it fades out. A little bit too underwater, so let's bring back the and you can also do stuff where you bring in the wow. And then if you bring back, so it's not 100%, you'll get a nice chorus effect. But the chorus effect doesn't sound very good if you notice on the shimmer pad, right? It's like too much. So here's what we can do there. We're going to hold down Control and Shift and click the little bullet. That's the same as going to Operations and saying Copy Plugin State. I'm going to get rid of this on the master effect, and instead I'm going to use... There's a couple ways I could do it. Let's do it a tricky way that you guys might not have seen before. Let's use an auxiliary effect. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this as an additional like insert effect. But the key here is I can send both of these guitars to this instead of coming out the speakers. So I turn down their direct send and I send them both at 1.0 to this auxiliary bus. So now both these sounds are being combined and then being sent to auxiliary 1. So this way I only need to use one Chow tape model. And I can go over here to our, if I hold down Shift and click, that gives me the effect. Or I could go over here to the little bullet by the plugin and Operations, paste plugin state, and that will also paste. What that does is it plugs, I'd made those settings for the tape model when it was down here on the master effects. That just lets me to copy them. So now, by doing this, I'm going to bring down. Don't need this to be quite so loud. And then maybe let's put a little room on this so that it's got a little bit more of like a space, a room, Dragonfly room. And let's put shimmer. What can we do? Maybe we'll put this through some water verb just to like wash it out a little bit more diffused. There. This gets to be a little bit darker. Let's see, on the filters. Oh, we can keep that going. The tone. Now, the guitar slides are a little bit too loud. And maybe for this, I'll take the note offs and I'm gonna filter. And since that's a high pass filter, that means I need to sneak a little low pass filter right here. So filter max. I just wanna make the squeaks. There. Nice. All right, so let's save this. Guitar. A lo-fi summer. Lo-fi summer vibes. And for the tags, we put bonus because this is part of the update. And save as save. And now we have a nice... which is different than if, let's go back and play the original. Here's shimmer verb that we started with. Compare that to lo-fi summer vibes. All ready for the lo-fi treatment, so cool. All right. Okay, so let's move to the 80s from Magic Times. That will take us to this library here. Now, again, this is in the works. It was we've got slated to land on the 17th. That's a lot to do. And wow. Okay, yeah, that's the plan. 17th, a week, like this coming week. I've got the bonus for the guitar library. In the week after that, this is gonna land. So there's 233 patches for Unify. If we init, let's first call this up in Vital. So we go Vital, and there will be a Vital bank file that you click and load. And then you go down here to MC, back to the 80s. And everything here is ready to go. Now, this library sounds nothing like anything available for Vital today. I tell you that right now. This is a library that Bob's using synthesis, his own wave tables, all sorts of things to get these sounds. So here's ballet. There's effects, there's plucks. You go to the 80s pads. Let's see, I'm not organized by names. Let's go by name. Look at all the brass. I mean, there's so much brass and because 80s pop was all about the brass, man. Who are you gonna call? There's guitar. It's a full library for doing 80s, so keys. In your arms. All that kind of stuff. I mean, it goes everywhere. Great leads. Where's Careless Whisper? Is that in here? There's... Can it do any Vangelis stuff? It's really not aimed at dystopian soundtrack. That would be a different library per se, but at the same time, I mean, you could take a pad like this and it fades out, so just bring up the sustain, make it a slower attack fade in. And now you're into Vangelis territory. Okay. Change the curvature here a little bit more like this. But it's specifically designed for what you need to do 80s pop. So as you will see when we get to the, so there's going to be two versions of this library. For those of you that don't own Unify, there's a version just for Vital, like what I'm showing you now, which has and for like $20 more, which is a screaming deal of the century, you can go from this to 233 patches that are set up for doing, you know, push a note, it loads up multiple vitals, it loads up drum kits played inside of Unify that can do the whole track. And then you can turn off the MIDI box like this, set each one to its own MIDI channel, and now use this as a sound canvas to write music in the 80s genre with those sounds all ready to go. For every one of these. I mean, check this out. I love this. Just the drums. Isn't that great? I mean... It's all the parts. I mean, it's so well put together. Bob, high five, brother, high five. This is a lot of fun. Some of these are crazy too. Dark Alley is like kind of spooky and like, oh my gosh. And the Careless sax, here it is for the... I don't know the notes, so I have to figure out... Get the idea. Yes, it's a lot of work to get these to have this. Oh, roller disco. Summer Kiss. I love this vibe. It's just so cool. And Bob, I added a lead to this. Just the synth parts. All right, Pink Floyd is 70s. So no, there is no Pink Floyd in this. It's definitely aimed at the 80s, at that really cool big. True. I mean, it's the sounds. So it's really, really cool. All these different drum kits. Let's go. I mean, it's just. Give you that whole retro Lindrum. Let's get crazy. There's guitars. Again, these are calling it Vital patches, as you can see. But to have all of these put together inside, in fact, there's a whole category. What's it called? UVO. I think if you go UVO, that means Unify version only. So these are all things that come with the Unify version. There's a stage piano. Assorted effects, the drum kits, percussion, drum loops. There will be more drum loops. These just MIDI files. Right. Yeah, it breaks it down. We're into education as much as we are just giving you the sounds like most other companies. Bob has spent a huge amount of time, so you can call these up, hit play. This is all 7 parts, so you can, let's see, bring down the mod wheel first to bring down the drums and stuff. So it's going to be the complete package. So really excited, really, really fun. So, yeah, that's one that I don't know if we have Take On Me in the list, but that's definitely the vibe. Let's see. Take On Me. Let's see what we got here. Because I have been just playing with, yeah, here we go. We got the bell for Aha. You get the idea, right? So yeah, there's a little bit of everything for all the stuff in the 80s that we love, stuff like that. So that will be showing up at the middle of the month, I guess more. So, and I thank you ahead of time for supporting this library because Bob is getting married in September. So this is a wedding present support. So congratulations to Bob for marrying the love of his life. That's so awesome. And the other library we're working on for Vital is more in the veins of what Vital can do. So while this is in the 80s, later this year, there's a library we're working on called Critical V, which has a lot of patches from Saif. as well as myself, that get into all sorts of all the weird stuff, typical synthy things for wavetable synthesizers. Right? But I just got to point out and make sure you guys see, this sounds so different from any of these other libraries. It sounds different than the factory patches. There's no like, Bob totally took this synthesizer and like twisted it into this complete. So it's a whole different planet. Killer basses. There it is, careless sax. So we'll cover this more when it is out. There's still a little bit of cleanup work to do here and there. So you can do your Boys to Men tracks. Some nice cheesy hits. I mean, it's great. It's got the whole lo-fi vibe and everything to it. So really, really excited for this one. He's been working very hard for quite a while in this. It's funny. We were doing the wrap up on Ambient Dreams. And while I'm doing the last bits of cleaning up and little tweaking and getting organized, and then doing the support and the videos for it, and he's like, "You won't believe what I'm doing for Vital. This thing's going to be so cool." It's like, oh, yeah, he's like moving ahead, like just, but it's cool. Look what we got. And he's right. There's percussion as well, I should point out. You got the Simmons thing, multiple Simmons. I mean, he's nailed the vibe of like what was really used. I think this. Kind of a thing. In the air. I can't sing worth a hill of beans, so I'm not even going to try. But again, this sounds so different to any other patches I've seen for Vital that it's really kind of fun to like go through these and go, wow. It's like he's in a way, he's kind of like reimagined Vital as like a ESQ1. If you've ever played an ESQ1 from Insonic. That was what was used for so much of these types of parts on the original tracks. And it was a synthesizer with digital oscillators and so forth. But really, really fun. Okay, bye, Ivar. Take care. Good stuff. Claps. And this is made, by the way, just with white noise and just nice programming of the envelopes and so forth. So all sorts of fun stuff. So I think there's 180 patches for Vital, 231, I think, 233 patches. At this point, I think more will be made. We're still making drum grooves and stuff like that. There's some really cool things here. Let's see if we can. Really cool. So more of this when we get a little bit closer to it being released. But it's really, really fun. Really cool library. Came out very, very well. And that will be available on August 17th. In closing, there's one more thing I wanted to show you guys. We were going to build something called El Diablo. It's a piece that I wrote. There's one other way I wanted to present working with Unify and these guitar samples and stuff inside of MegaMagic Guitars. And that's kind of the idea is this. It's kind of a song, but there's, I think, 8 sequences for the song. And I want you to be able to change with the knob between what parts of the 8 sequences you're playing. So you can actually change the song as it goes. So the bass is going to be played by a bass part. So let's call up MegaMagic Guitars Volume 3. And this was in the El Diablo MIDI. So we're going to go El Diablo bass. That's the bass line. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have the drum part played when I play a note. I don't think this drum kit's going to work, but let's try it. Let's see what happens. So MegaMagic Groove right here. Let's go to El Diablo. I don't think I included, Techno Drum Groove here. I think it's going to need to be a standard drum kick. So it's a kick snare techno groove. So let's do this. Let's go to the standard library, to the Unify bonuses where the drum kits are found. You know what? That's not going to work. Let's do this. Let's go to the standard library. I think I have some 4 on the floor. Let's just do it one at a time. Let's go BPM kick. BPM kick is here. 4 on the floor. Add as a new Unify layer. And if you don't like the kick sound, you can go to transpose and let's try that, maybe a little bit less brightness. Now, since I have a Unify layer, I can build inside here to add extra parts. Let's go to BPM snare and add this just to see what we get. Load into it. Oh, I know what's going on. that's off. So okay, so we got the kick and snare. Now we're ready for the guitar part. So let's go over here and we go MegaMagic Guitars Part 3. Go to the El Diablo folder, and I have it just as a stack right now. In fact, I didn't even name it right. But we'll use this for the moment. So here's the guitar parts. Let's see here. I can tell we're not in the right space. So right click here. It's too dreamy. So what I'm going to do is check this out. Here's an interesting trick. So we're going to go save, BPM song, El Diablo. Here's another cool trick that I have learned. So I'm going to get bass, all this stuff, right? Now, if I go back to the full MegaMagic Guitars V3 library, I will, let's see, options, save again, so it gets me here. I can go to one of these patches and I can copy over, let's see here. Let's try it. Let's copy all macro definitions and then let's paste them to El Diablo to make sure that we have it working right. So we can turn down the, on the second page I have release. My reverb. So the big thing about this is going to be, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy by holding Shift and Control and clicking this because I still want to have guitar MIDI velocity somewhere. But I'm going to put it on the fourth page right here. So I'm going to hold down Shift and click, and that automatically pastes it there because I want this to be sequence. Sequence numbers, kind of what I do. And so right click on this, and let's reroute that. So instead of controlling this, we go to the song, MIDI effects, MIDI box, track number. And this way I can change between all the different sequences. So I have... Cool. Should be E. So you can change the sequence. So I'm having it play like a song. So I can have it go between different phrases just by the knob. Kind of a cool concept. So the idea for Diablo, I gotta clean up a little bit. Let's see, I I gotta make sure that I have no system. I just love how dry that will be. Oh, you know what else I can add to this? Because I had it in the version I was doing on in the computer in Logic at one point. Add a groove. And I actually have some new Montuno, the reggaeton groove. So I can go to MIDI box, reggaeton. There we go. So I'll have to clean up the shimmer and stuff's too long. So we'll go over here, shimmer. I don't need 12 seconds of release on that. And let's have it start sooner so it plays a little bit tighter. That's that cool. Let's EQ the guitar a little bit, get a little bit of the low end out. So let me save this. This is El Diablo. I'll clean it up a little bit more. It's not exactly where I want it to be, but it's in the right direction. I'll have the velocity right next to it. Maybe a little bit juicy fruit on the bass. Let's say add a layer of instruments, go to OBXD. Something in that direction. I'll clean up a little bit more, but the idea being that you could write a piece and then use a knob when you're ready, just move up. Fun. I got it. I was not sure if I was going to get to this. I also have down here on the page 2, this says guitar sequencer notes. And what this does is this will turn off MIDI box. so you can have it playing. And then when you're ready, have this assigned to your keyboard. I'm in the wrong key. No wonder. How funny. Like if we were to do our test of calling an empty layer. Yeah, my bass isn't playing the right part. So let's go bass, MIDI box. There we go. And we turn on the sequence. It's not right. So let's go over here to that MIDI box. There we go. No wonder I was partly losing my mind. I was playing notes and going, that doesn't sound right. But now E sounds the way it's supposed to. A little bit more mid-range. There we go. Okay, I feel much better. And again, spin the knob. There you go. Sounds like a Will Ferrell kind of thing. And again, go over here, turn it back to sequencer. Supposed to be on. Ah, señorita. I was dancing all around the room when I was writing this. Anytime something gets Skippy up to start dancing, you know he's into something he's really happy with. So this was really... just love the vibe of it. So anyway. Great vendor. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So... I think we'll wrap it up there. It's really fun. So this update with all of these songs, all those really fun ways of using so many of you guys are into just, you know, help me out a little bit. Let me just play stuff and enjoy music and just play around with stuff. So these are in that direction. Also, for people writing music, this is... Start with this. That's one note. I'll put in the comments the chord progressions so that if you play C, E? What are you playing? A flat. The other cool thing with these is you can play octaves. And even the chords, I was playing around with this, and then we'll close here. If you go to chords, again, there's going to be 17 patches with the chords. What I do is I go to each chord, E major 5 note wide. So then I put here E major 5 wide. Yeah, major 5 wide. We'll just call it that. So that you have the patch to call up that has or. So I'll do this for each one of the chords. But you can play octaves or fifths. So if you want to get into more progressive things, you can YouTube video on the third wave synth from Groove Synth. I was wondering if Unify is just as capable as that hardware synth is. It is not. That is a very, very powerful synthesizer. It's like $5,000, I believe. It has incredible modulation capabilities. Its synth engine. Unify is really a host, and I was fortunate to be able to contact some developers that were kind enough to let us include their free synthesizers that you can get for free off the internet into Unify. So it's a whole different concept. And in some ways, this is more powerful than the third wave is because that is just one synthesizer. Everything has to come resource-wise from that one synth. What's fun with Unify is that each of the layers, when you call up one of these things, that's even like one of these where it's playing a groove and the bass, each one of these is a separate synthesizer. Each one has its own pool of 64 voices of polyphony. Each one is on a separate stem thread of your computer. So it's very efficient how it works. So it's a whole different concept. If you're talking just like pure raw synthesis, I think, the third wave is up there with the Omnisphere level of synthesizers or, Serum. I don't think with third wave, I don't think you can get into modulating envelope segments and stuff like that. You can inside of Serum, which is very, very powerful, or Vital. Vital is incredibly powerful. Vital is more comparative to what you'd find with the third wave, but it's hardware, and hardware has a whole different vibe than anything in software because software is all going through your audio card. Hardware has its own audio card built in, and every company's synthesizer has a different, let's just quote, audio card, unquote. So it has a different sound, it has a different presence, it has a different tonality to it that's all different because each company is using different components in different ways, so it's different. So no comparison. I mean, the apples and oranges, there's things Unify can do. You can't go to the third wave and call up a MIDI file groove and just start jamming. That's not how it works. The third wave is more like just calling up one patch and playing it. And it's synthesis based, so there's not sample maps. So you can't make it. There's nothing in third wave that will sound like this. Right? But there's nothing inside of this that will sound like the third wave either. That's why they might. So they each have their strengths and they work really nicely together. If you were to call up this and you had some really, really cool synthesizer pads from the third wave, I think you'd probably be like somewhere in heaven at that point, right? But I can realize most of the stuff I want to do with the powers of Unify. It's just you have to get to them in different ways. You don't have 8 LFOs. Instead, you have a MIDI effect that you can assign to the parameters and then assign those parameters and have each have its own strengths and so forth like that. Yeah. I don't want, you can't, the third wave, I hope they make a little tabletop version. You know, they're a small company, so they've got a lot of room for growth. And they want to, obviously, when you make something that expensive, you're not going to be able to sell that many. They might do pretty well because it's a very, very good sounding synthesizer. There's no doubt. I'd like to own one at some point in the future, but I'm in the process of trying to move. So if you looked at my room, like most of the gear is out of my room. It's in storage now. So yeah, no, I'm not going to buy one right now. But anyway, we'll get to other stuff. So cheers to you guys for the week. Shout out from Portland. I will tell you that probably end of September, October, I'll be stopping the live streams for a while because I will be in the process of moving. And so that will be an interesting experience. We'll go through that together when we get there. We're not there yet. So thank you again for joining us. Shout outs from Cologne. Look at that. Hey, Break Band. Dave in Colorado. Good to see you, man. Ken in Washington. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Helsinki, Holland. UK, Colorado, England. UK, the Netherlands. Dana in Idaho. I'll be joining you in Idaho, it looks like. My plan is to move to Boise, Idaho. And that's an hour outside of where my parents live. And so I can see my family more often and be able to travel more because it's a lesser expensive place to live. And rent this lovely house in Portland, Oregon. If anybody wants to move to Portland and needs a 4-bedroom house, talk to me. Hey, Nadir, I'm doing good, man. Good to see you. Right on. Dallas, Texas. It's hot down there, man. Oh my gosh. Put the ribs out to make barbecues just on the sidewalk, right? All right. Well, thank you all for joining. It's good to see you all. Have a great creative week. No, I moved into this house 4 years ago, I think. 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm ready for a scene change. My daughter's in San Francisco going to school. One guy living in a 4-bedroom house is just overkill. And I can rent this out and it will pay for itself and more. So let some nice family move into this. This is an incredible family-oriented neighborhood. There's kids everywhere in school. And the people in front of me own a preschool. And the people down the street own a day school. And I mean, there's just kids everywhere. And so I think a family would do great at this house, and I'll be in a place where I can do more of what I want to do. I want to be more traveling. I want to be doing live streams from using Starlink in a rainforest in Borneo or something like that, or Costa Rica, or all sorts of places. So you guys have no idea what I have in my mind I want to try to make happen. So cheers. Well, I'm not moving yet. There's a lot to do before I move. Believe me. But I'm in the process of getting towards that. That's what I'm working towards. So thank you all for your support for the library. It's a kind of a dark camera today. I just go this way, make it a little bit brighter. There you go. A little better. All right. Cheers to you guys. We'll see you next week. More fun stuff. The update will be out. We'll be closer to releasing Back to the 80s. Oh, I gotta show you. This isn't the final. No, it's not the final. I'll show you the artwork when, there'll be world tours. That's exactly right. That's all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah, I want to come to your countries, meet all you guys. I mean, my gosh, just doing this in a live stream and not meeting people in person. That's not where I want to be. So there's all sorts of stuff I have in the hopeful works. So we'll see how close from the hopes to the realities can get, but it's gonna be fun to try. All right. So thank you again for your support. We will see you next week. The only sale going on right now at the website is for MegaMagic Guitars Volume 3. You can pick it up save $30 until the end of the 13th, a week from Sunday. And then it goes to being $79. So this is a chance to save some pretty decent money. If you go to pluginguru.com, if you go to the Bliss picture and click it, it's 40% plus off, $45 until the 13th of August. So take advantage of this to save some money. And I'm adding a complete MIDI pack for guitar to this. And what's fun is you'll be able to take something like these BPM grooves that are guitar oriented, like say Bambi. I could go over here. I could say Ample Sound. Let's call up. They have a whole different sounding. Their Martin guitar. Have it load up the samples. So you could play these patches, these sequence ones. Or you can have it play with Unify. I like the sound of Unify better. That guitar samples so nicely. I'm so happy. Or if you really want to get carried away, you could say duplicate the layer. Make this one be ample. And then what we have to do is we have to go to the sequence. And the thing that says track number, go over here and say +1. And it's going to give me a red light because it's not layer 2. It's actually layer 4. So you double click, type in 4, and there you go. So now I'm changing the sequence for both Unify's guitar and Ample Sound. Play both. Nice. So there's all sorts of ways to use these samples with other libraries or else, and the MIDI files that we're creating can work with any guitar library you own. So, all right. Thank you all for joining. I say that a lot because I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.